I think an audit's always important, but I think this year it's the ever so more important, given the focus on going concern, the guidance that's been put out by regulators, and really important that companies have external scrutiny of what they've done around the whole going concern issue. I think what's really different this year is the economic environment that we're operating in. We have a position where many companies have found it difficult to renew liquidity lines, renew their finance facilities, and therefore audits have to be done in the context of knowing that banks are not on the front foot in wanting to lend. In fact, they're looking to reduce facilities. That makes the whole going concern area, the work we do in it, ever so more important and actually much more difficult and challenging than it's been in past years. I would expect to see more emphasis of matter paragraphs in audit reports this year than we probably have ever seen before. Well, I think the impact will be interesting to judge. I think had we been a year ago, an emphasis of matter, a paragraph in an audit report would have been a bad sign, and I think investors would have reacted badly. Credit rating agencies would probably have downgraded companies. I think now there's so much publicity or discussion around going concern that's been put out by the Financial Reporting Council that actually it should not come as a surprise that there will be more emphasis of matters. The FRC put out something in December which is really aimed at company directors and providing some quite practical advice, steps that boards ought to go through to make sure that they are satisfied that there have been adequate sensitivities done. So what happens if sales are 20% less than budget, or what happens if you can't sell the property you were looking to sell? What does that do to your cash flow? And can you still operate within your facilities? So there's quite helpful guidance in there, which I really would recommend directors read, and they make sure that the executive management of the businesses they're involved in have really gone through the steps that are suggested in there. I think this year more than ever, it's so important that a company discloses the basis on which it has got to its conclusion around going concern. And that might be that it's got bank facilities that come up for renewal in the next 12 months, and it needs to make an assumption on whether those are going to be rolled over. And I think there needs to be, again, coming back to each individual company, there will be specific individual circumstances. And it's looking to make sure those have been properly and adequately disclosed in that basis of preparation note, so the reader of the accounts gets a full picture of what the assumptions are, what could go wrong, but why the company has concluded that it is a going concern. I think those that have not put the effort into discussions with their banks or doing adequate work to convince the auditors that the business can remain as a going concern, I think we'll see a lot of last-minute debate, which could push back results announcements. And I think if you then go on and what's the implication of that, immediately a company either misses its scheduled announcement date. That's going to send warning messages to the investors, to the rating agencies as well, who immediately will suspect something's not quite right. So I think again, it's absolutely crucial for companies to be communicating properly to the city, communicating why if their announcement does get pushed back, why that is. But my advice to companies would be, don't get yourself in that position. Talk to the banks, get your cash flows done, talk to your auditors, make sure you're going to be in a position where you can issue your results on the due date. I mean, my advice to companies who perhaps are on the more struggling end, and when they look at their cash flows and they're hugely sensitive to being able to keep within the facilities, please seek advice. Talk to your audit partner. He'll be able to introduce one of our debt advisory people or one of our restructuring people who has seen all of this before and can provide first-hand relevant help in terms of how you might have discussions with the banks about renewing facilities, or about how you might look at your business to cut costs if that's what's needed. So my advice is just please seek help.